Welcome to the How to Adult podcast, where we learn all things adulting. My name is Travis Walker, and I will be your host. Today's topic is all about utilizing your skills to start a business, a thriving business. We've got an incredible guest that is doing just that. His name is Garrett Guidry. So get excited and buckle up because we're about to learn how to adult. We are back for another episode of How to Adult, and we've got a very good friend of mine, Garrett Guidry's here. How you doing, Garrett?
Doing great, Travis.
Awesome. Our topic today is all about utilizing our skills and turning that into a business, which you've done. Spoiler alert. So I'm really excited to learn from you in that sense. A lot of people do this, and I think that you've done it really well. But before we get there, can you share a little bit about yourself? And after you share a little bit about yourself, I want to learn more about Atlas Media Group and your business.
Yeah. Well, I'm Garrett. I'm 27 years old, about to be 28 years old. And I'm a full-time firefighter paramedic for the city of Baytown. I've been doing this for close to a decade now.
Wow.
I am married, have a daughter, 3.5 years old. Basically my involvement with the fire department that I work for and the union that I also work for, I'm the secretary for the union of our fire department, has kind of set me up to get really involved in the political world, and through with videography and things of that nature. So that all of that experience kind of led into starting a company called Atlas Media Group.
Yeah. That's awesome. Really good journey there. And so with Atlas Media Group, can you talk a little bit about the services you provide? And I'd love to hear kind of the origin story of how it happened. I know you have a partner in that venture as well. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah. So Atlas Media Group, basically what we do is we are a high quality video production service for political campaigns and advocacy groups. So advocacy groups includes things like nonprofits, charities, churches, community initiatives, things of that nature. Falling underneath the political realm is both candidate politics and also political action committees, and public safety unions and their prerogatives that they go after every single election session. So what we do is we offer up a full suite video service, and included with that is photography, graphic design, and then I myself, as a part of the package, will offer campaign direction and campaign advice to individuals who might be new to the political arena, don't have a political consultant that they keep on staff full time. They can't necessarily afford it. We're kind of the intermediary between that.
Yeah.
The origin story is I have been through the International Association of Firefighters. I've attended several classes for communications, political training academies, and through that, I got to develop a relationship with a guy who actually owns a company called Modern Cartographers. They are a political consultant firm, and they work specifically with public safety unions. So police officers unions, firefighters unions, things like that. And he offered me a job. I worked with him for about a year, through 2 really busy campaign cycles, and we did campaigns across the nation: New York, California, Arizona, Washington, so Washington
Wow.
D.C. And so that was super fun, and I loved it. And then I took the things that I've learned through being involved politically, both since high school in the local arena, um, but over the past couple of years through the firefighters union, I took that. I started working for Roy West's campaign for mayor, of Beaumont, and um, after that, I kind of just fell in love. I was hooked. I was like, I want
Yeah.
this. This is fun. And so, a good buddy of mine who has helped me out a ton on my journey as like a super freelance hobby videographer into becoming someone who understands the production side of the business, named Ryan Ripion, just this incredible videographer,
Oh, for sure.
through and through. And I we were sitting down in a Fuzzies, and I was like, I want to do this for myself. I don't want to work for another person anymore. I really want to work for myself. I was like, Ryan, I want to start a company, and I want you to start the company with me. And he was like, Nah, that's funny. And I was like, No, really, I think that we could do this thing. I think this could be a thing that could be beneficial for both of our families and our lives in the long run. And I think it could be like a catalyst that helps bring in some cool businesses into Southeast Texas, and I think this could be a real thing. And he was like, Yeah, that's fun. And I was like, No, really, man, I promise you. And then 4 months later, we filed our LLCs, and we've been up and running and going since then. So
That's an incredible story. And I had no idea that you had worked on different campaigns throughout the country. That was incredible. I thought it
yeah.
was mostly localized, but that's really big. That's awesome. So what do you enjoy most about working with campaigns specifically, political campaigns specifically?
Yeah. It's always different. So one of the things I love most about being a firefighter is you have no idea what your day is going to be when you walk in.
Definitely.
You can plan the crap out of your day, right? We can train. We're going to train at 10. We're going to make lunch at noon. We're going to clean up at 4, and we're going to do like family, like station bonding time at 6. But that's just a loose plan. You have no idea. Campaigns are much the same way, as in you can plan for all of this stuff from the get-go. You can sit down, you can have your master plan for the whole campaign, you can have your budget set on what you want to do, and then 3 weeks later, like, it could be completely thrown out the door, put in the trash can, set on fire, because the world around you doesn't care about what your plans are. And I thrive on that. I don't
Yeah.
like mundane, like, nothingness where you just walk in and you open your computer and then everything's the same, like, through and through. God bless people who do code. I don't understand how you could do that, man. So political
Definitely.
campaigns are much the same way. It keeps you on your toes, keeps you sharp. When you win, it's so much more satisfying because
Yeah.
it's at the product of your own merit, and not um, from a tried and true process, that a plug and play formula. This is going to work every single time. So um, I think that's the thing I enjoy most uh, about political campaigns. I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm fascinated with your business and your company, and I have been for a long time. And so, I guess we have to ask the question: is when are we going to see a Garrett Guidry campaign of
Oh
himself?
man, listen, 2036. That's
2036.
the soonest that might happen.
Anything special about that year?
Technically speaking, that's the first year I would be eligible to run for president. So 20, I guess it was 2013. I was in Miss Gigliotta's class my senior year at Westbrook
Yeah.
High School, and she had us all sit down and like figure out, because you have to be 35 to be able to run for president of the United States, and
Yeah.
she had us figure out what age, what year in the political cycle, that presidential cycle, I should say, that we would be eligible to run for president. In 2036 is my year, so um, that's when I'm gonna do it.
Perfect. We'll keep our eyes out, and you heard it here first. Garrett Guidry, 2036 for president. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you alluded a little bit to the client acquisition process, and so I'm interested, especially in those first couple of clients.
Mhm.
your client acquisition process, or I'm sure it's changed over time, and hopefully now it's a real process. But I'd love to hear kind of how you approach or how you look at client acquisition specifically.
Yeah. So word of mouth has been huge for us.
Yeah.
Obviously, Southeast Texas is a tight knit community. It's the Golden Triangle encompasses about 350,000 people between Orange, Beaumont, Port Arthur, and then everything that's in between. But we like to think of ourselves as a small town and or a collective group of small towns. So um,
Right.
chances are that you've played the 9 degrees of Kevin Bacon before, yeah.
No,
Have
what
you
is
ever
that?
seen that? Yeah, so it's like you can put in there's a website called 9 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You can put in any name of any historical figure of any time, and it only takes 9 degrees of separation to get back to Kevin Bacon. So it's
Okay.
it's a thing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Southeast Texas is the same way. You
Yeah.
there's I mean, the furthest I found is 3 degrees of separation of somebody knowing somebody that you know. So that has helped us a lot in our business. I also there I have not been able to find it. There was a man that I listened to. It was probably on a TikTok while I was scrolling through or something like that. And he
Yeah.
said, "Give your business card to everybody." And I started
Okay.
doing that. I started
Yeah.
giving my business card to literally everyone that I talked to. Didn't matter what they did, didn't matter who they represented, didn't matter if they were a political player, if they were a person who swept floors at McDonald's. I give my business card to anyone that I talk to that I don't know, and some people that I do know. That's paid off dividends.
I'm sure.
Um, yeah, and so just through the people that I have communicated with throughout the past 10 years, people that know me, and people that are familiar with not only the work ethic that I bring and that presumably my company will bring with that, but people who are familiar with me just as a person, an individual, and as an individual, um, that's really that's really helped a lot bring business in. We actually just started something. We started with a program called Agency U. It's going to help us legitimize every asset of our business even more,
Yeah.
um, including it up to a real client acquisition process. One thing that I figured out is that um, I'm not a like I'm not really a businessman.
Okay.
I love the things that I do, but I need a lot of help along the way figuring out the things that make a successful business run successfully. Because I can make as many pretty videos as you want me to, and I can make your campaign wildly successful on the backs of those things. But if I can't make my company run smoothly and efficiently, then that's all for naught. So
That's interesting. So you identify more as the executor in the business, where and a business may be more visionary and see the big picture at a 30,000 foot view. Would you agree with that?
I would say that I am much more the big picture 30,000 foot view.
Okay.
Ryan is a great executor. It's the actual like minute details that keep you out of jail as a business. Yeah.
Those are
So
we should discuss that.
yeah, well, I mean, it's just we're dealing with a lot of political action committees.
Sure.
Political action committees are simultaneously they are what's the word I'm looking for? They're sanctioned, or not sanctioned, but they are
They're
regulated
they're
heavily
heavily
by
regulated.
the FEC or the yes, Federal Elections Committee, by the IRS. But also at the same time, there's been some really big key court decisions that have made them be able to do whatever the heck they wanted to, monetarily speaking.
Yeah.
But all of that has to be reported correctly. Figuring out things like who needs a W 9, who doesn't need a W 9, who gets a 1099, who doesn't. All of those things are just things that I never really thought about much past what my father and my sister kind of like passed on in stories about nightmare stories from businesses that they go in and help uh like get their books right.
Yeah.
And my goal from the very early on was to, I mean, we've only been in business since June now, of last year, and so
Oh,
my
wow.
my goal since the inception of our company is to not um not be one of those businesses that need someone to come in and get their books right and avoid like heavy fines from the IRS.
We don't want fines or handcuffs, either
We
of those.
don't, no,
We'll
we
stay
don't.
away from those. So,
Yes.
in a moment, I'm going to ask about the challenges in kind of starting your business. But a key
Yeah.
challenge I am thinking about, and what I want to ask you about, is that the political space specifically, there's a lot of non-movement in the sense of, you know, people that are elected typically are elected for multiple terms. And so do you find most of your success with people that are getting reelected, or do you have more of your business with new candidates, or kind of how does that play into this conversation? Because I'm just curious for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So, Frederick Douglass said it best. He said that that political victories come in inches and not miles.
Yeah.
So, we never want to outpace ourselves. That's the biggest thing. And so in saying that, what is considered a victory in politics is ultimately like winning your campaign, right?
Yeah.
But throughout the campaign, victories come like really minuscule, and they just compound over time. It's like a dung beetle, which actually is very apt because politics is a whole lot of dung. It's just a beetle rolling it up the hill, and then eventually it gets really big and it rolls down the hill, and your campaign can see successes. So also in that is political campaigns are machines.
Okay.
Incumbents have a tried and true method of winning, and that's being in office. They have a team that got them there, presumably. That team is going to maintain their election. They're going to maintain that office with everything that they got because that's their job, that's their livelihood, right?
Right.
So when a challenger comes in to go against an incumbent, they're fighting the process. They're fighting the establishment per se, right? So to do that, you have to do new things. You have to think outside the box. The um you can't be the old horse and try to beat the old horse because you're going to
Right.
come in and you're going to lag way behind. The other horses stuck in their ruts, and their ruts keep them going faster and faster and faster. If you're trying to dig new ruts with the same techniques, it's not going to work. So our company has pretty much worked specifically with new candidates. We've seen successes with with the campaigns that we've worked alongside,
Definitely.
um, and then individually, the work that I've done on campaigns has largely been supporting non incumbent challengers. So one of our biggest races um, was in New York when I worked for Modern Cartographers. We did a lot of stuff with Long Island Law Enforcement Foundation. It's a really big super PAC
Okay.
out of Long Island, and we saw a lot of successes with people. They were with candidates that were challenging incumbents, and we overturned a lot of seats, and that probably through the efforts that we were running as an independent expenditure campaign.
Right.
So yeah, back to the question, the root of the question is yes. Would we love to be able to work with candidates who are established in their craft and are incumbents through and through, and be able to put out the easy videos and be able to do the easy campaign? Absolutely. Is that where we are at as a company? No. And do I like that? Absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that the experience that you're gathering through the Challenger campaign is probably much more thought provoking and experience driven. I totally buy that. And so from the journey from June to now, how what kind of challenges have you faced, and how did you deal with those challenges as you're creating this company and getting some good traction? What are some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, well, starting a business with a friend is hard, right?
Oh,
There comes into a time where you have to make tough decisions. As the managing partner of the company, ultimately, I have say in the company in the direction that we go, but in the in the process of maintaining a friendship, which is much more important to me than making a business succeed.
yeah,
You have given, you have take, right? So um, we really early on we sat down with a friend of ours who's a investment advisor and a business coach, and his lawyer, and we put together a LLC agreement, with a partnership agreement with Ryan and I,
very
um,
smart.
in order to preserve that friendship. And we have, if we have a disagreement, we have means to an end on that disagreement now. We're not stuck. Um, we're not stuck arguing it out, or hashing it out. We have processes to go back through. So that's one hurdle that we wanted to get over as quickly as possible, in uh, our business. But challenge wise has just been, um, I mean, ultimately it's finding the break between this being a part-time job and this being a full-time job.
Right.
Has been a huge challenge. Work-life balance is hard, obviously, when you're starting up a business. And included in that is, I have a great schedule at work. I work 2 days on, 48 hours straight, but I have 4 days off in a row.
Yeah.
So in that 4 days off, I can completely devote myself during business hours, and sometimes off of business hours, to the company. Ryan works full time, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So that leads to difficulties in in putting out product and scheduling things and doing things, like shoot days have to be on the weekends,
Right.
because Ryan works full time. So it's just one of those, it's one of those things we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out what it looks like to for the company to be able to bring him on full time, as a full time partner in the company.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one of those things that's it's how do you say, I mean, because it's a risk, obviously, right? It's that we're a startup, we're a new company. We don't have a 2 year solid financials to know that year over year we're going to be able to not only maintain the same level of business but actually grow as a company. And so how do you bring someone on board with that? How do you ask them to drop their stable paycheck and
Right.
come onto a company that could be extremely lucrative for them, but also it could be a gigantic risk? That's one of the
Definitely.
things that we're navigating. So yeah,
Gosh, that is a tough decision. I can't
yeah,
imagine making that decision. And you've alluded to this idea of work-life balance. And I know, you, like you said, you have a full-time job, you have an awesome daughter, you have an incredible wife. Ryan also has an incredible wife. So I'm interested in how y'all approach, and I'm sure it's different, but I'm interested in how y'all approach balancing all of these things, because you have a lot of plates spinning, and
yeah,
we don't break any plates.
yeah. Plates have been broken.
Okay.
Yeah, it is hard. Maintaining a proper work life balance is difficult. Unfortunately, the realm of politics, turnaround times are less than ideal. So
Yeah,
a lot of times things pop up spur of the moment, have got to be done quickly. Those are the things that are bringing money into the company. And so, um, I um, on my 2 days at work, sometimes I get to do stuff, but there's times, I mean, I honestly, I mean, we run 14 to 15 calls a day. So running 30 calls in a full tour is leaves very little downtime between
Right.
everything that still has to get done at work. And so my days I come off, I get right back into the office, but I have been gone from home for the previous 2 days. So I would love to spend time with my wife and kids, or kid, um, but how do I do that when I still have a looming deadline overhead that's got to be put in because early voting is right around the corner and we want to get the impact out for the ad, and I have a contract with the company. Juggling all of that can get overwhelming, can lead to um can definitely lead to some burnout, or at least just like fuzzy headed phase is what my daughter calls it. When she feels overwhelmed, she feels fuzzy headed, which I
I love
can't
that.
say is not the most apt thing in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I get fuzzy headed, it's really important to sit back and ask why I'm doing what I'm doing. Am I doing this because this is uh, a fun thing and I just love spending all of my time doing it? Or am I doing this because I enjoy doing it and it can set my family up for success in the long term and make us um not just surviving but thriving and being able to do um basically like whatever we want to and not be at the beck and call of um, what is a public servant's salary, which
Yeah.
is good but not great,
Right.
especially in this days of inflation.
Right. Right. Definitely.
Yeah,
And so, thinking about all those things, what do you love most about the business that you started?
yeah. I love that we have stuck to our guns. We've had opportunity left and right to do videos for countless other things, for countless other niches, like doctors' offices, lawyers, like ranching companies, feed stores. That's not what our business is about. That's not where our expertise lies. Expertise has been hard fought and well studied in the realm that we work within, and for us to be able to turn down a paycheck in order to do better for ourselves in the long run and stick to what we know and stick to our guns. I think that that's the thing I like the most about our business.
I love that. What a position of power to be in to turn down business. I talked to a good friend of mine, Albert Suarez. He's been on the podcast several times, and he's gotten to a point where he can turn down business because it doesn't fit where he's trying to go, which is kind of exactly what you're saying. You've got a great niche. You've got some great experience within that niche, and there's really no reason to get out of that lane because it doesn't serve your long-term purpose. That's really good. And I'm curious about, we've talked about paychecks and money a lot. Is this a lucrative business? I'm genuinely curious because I'm. Do all campaign people that are running for an office, do they all have campaign managers like this that are producing this type of content, or can a lot of them not afford it? I'm curious about just the lucrativeness of this business in general.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we Ryan and I like to say that our niche is great because it is our niche is people spending other people's money. So
Yes,
when people are spending their own money, it's a lot harder to get them to buy into something that is at the price point that our buy-in is for our company and the
sure.
services that we offer. When people, like with nonprofits, they have the ability to write a grant for it, right? It's a lot easier for someone to say yes to the price point that we're at. When political campaigns, no, that they have the possibility of calling up a couple of donors to say, "Hey, I need to get a video paid for," and they can get those donors dollars coming in. That's a great thing for them. It's a great thing for us. Every political campaign in Southeast Texas will not be able to afford what we're doing. Chambers County sheriff's race should not have to spend more than $10,000 on their campaign. That's fuel, that's them paying for a couple of fundraisers to bring some money in, that is putting signs out on the road, and everything else is just a lot of face-to-face meet and greet type stuff, right? They don't have their own media market. They're not trying to get buy-in. They're not trying to compete with Houston or anything like that.
Right.
Small base. City council member in Port Neches. They're not going to spend more than $5,500, $6,000 on a campaign. They don't need that type of media. But a mayor's race in Beaumont, an at-large seat for city council in Beaumont, a commissioner's precinct chair for the commissioner's court for Jefferson County, sheriff's race, the Jefferson County judge, all of those are all races in our area that spend in excess of six figures on a campaign. Those
Wow.
people have full-time campaign managers that are on board with them, whether or not that's a local person or if it's a campaign consulting firm, which there are several that are out of Houston and Austin that people in our area use. um, those are expensive campaigns. They're trying to reach a huge amount of people over a broad part of land with a huge media buy, and trying to effectively get people to know their name. So the the um, the lucrative nature of our business depends on how you market yourself and who you're marketing to. Could we do a $500 video for a Port Neches council member? Absolutely, we could. Would we
Hmm.
do that? No, because we're selling ourselves very short on everything that got us to where we are in the company and where we're at right now. This wasn't a this sounds fun, let's do this. It was some hard fought knowledge, years of experience, and time in the business that has let me see that there is money to be made. Unfortunately, what I love that politics, every single campaign would cost $10,000. That'd be better. The country would be better for it. Don't get me
Right.
wrong, but with the way that the system is right now, and the nature of soft money in campaigns in Texas and the nation as a whole, um, I would be remiss to not, you know, be a part of the money that could be made doing so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fair. That's awesome. As we're closing in on the end of the show, I'm interested in the future of Atlas Media Group in the sense of how do you think your business is going to evolve over time? What is maybe the 2, 3, 5 year goal of where you hope this business will be and you hope it will be doing it maybe in
Yeah,
a different time period? How are you going to evolve?
yeah. Three-year goal for us is to be able to branch outside of Southeast Texas, and be able to offer up our services nationwide.
Yeah.
Um, we we really want to make a name for ourselves here and use that experience to kind of go forward like throughout the rest of the state of Texas, which is massive, and branch out everywhere else to be um, a go-to campaign media service for political campaigns across the country. The 5-year goal for us is for both Ryan and I to be obviously full time with the company, to be
Yeah.
settled in our roles to where we're not doing jack of all trades across. Ryan can be the chief creative officer, I can be the CEO. We can focus on what we're doing, have a set of employees that know what they're doing, that we're able to send out and go do the thing, And we have some other plans for the 5-year goal. Those are kind of kept close to the chest, but they're it's they're plans that are like I talked about earlier. They're plans that I really see as making a difference in Southeast Texas, and kind of tapping into the creative potential that is here, and treating artists not like secondhand citizens where we get one event once a year, that is the Downtown Mural Festival, but
Right.
giving credence to artists across Southeast Texas year round, and really giving them a platform and a place to shine. So that's our 5-year goal.
Wow. I love it. I love it. There's so much strategy in how y'all are going to move forward and how y'all are currently operating. I think that y'all are doing incredible things, and it's been awesome from the sideline watching y'all succeed. But I'm sure it's been even awesomer to be doing the darn thing. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
For those people that are interested in starting a business, what's that final piece of advice for those people that want to start a business?
Just do it, man. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid. If you have a vision, and you can think of a way, and you have a way to monetize that vision, you have a passion, do it. Because the only thing that you'll lose out on if you don't is a self-respect, and then that feeling in your gut that you should have done something. And then if you do it and you don't succeed, it's like a $75 filing fee and like a $200 filing fee that you skipped out on. So $275 versus your future, you know, just do it.
Just do it. That's
Just
a
do
low
it. Thanks,
cost
Nike.
of entry.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, man. So if people want to learn more about you or about Atlas Media Group, where should they go?
So our Facebook, Atlas Media Group, on Facebook. Our website is atlasmedia.co, atlasmedia.co. There is no M at the end. It's not a typo. And yeah, you can read up on us there. Words are hard. And then my LinkedIn, Garrett Guidry on LinkedIn. You can find me there.
Absolutely. Y'all go check out Garrett because he's doing some incredible things. And if you are going to start a business, take Garrett's advice and just do it. We're going to continue to learn how to adult together.
That's right.
Thank you so much to Garrett for coming on and sharing all of that gold and helping us all learn how to adult. To stay up to date on all things How to Adult, make sure that you're following at How to Adult TW on Instagram and Facebook. And remember, we're going to learn how to adult together. See you next time.